Hey, this is Mike from Introstars, and today we're super excited to have a new episode of the Super Connectors podcast with a very special guest, only for today, the incredible Super Connector, Roland. Hey Roland, great to have you with us today.
Hey Mike, great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. So could you tell us more a bit about yourself and what it means for you to be a Super Connector?
Sure, okay. Well, I describe myself as a compulsive connector of people and ideas. And what that means is I kind of work in terms of building communities in three areas. So climate technologies, ethical AI, artificial intelligence, and smart cities. So those are the three areas that I'm fascinated in. And what it means to me as being a compulsive connector is I give quite a bit of my time to learn from other people, to connect other people, and just try and create some good value by bringing people and ideas together.
And what brought you to that journey? How did you become a super networker, super connector, compulsive connector? Was there a pivotal moment in your life?
There wasn't a pivotal moment, but it started early. I'm a TCK, a third culture kid. My dad's American, my mum's German. I grew up mostly in the UK.
Oh, wow.
And I think I've always been kind of spanning different kind of cultures and communities. And then the first kind of decade or so of my working life, I did 5 or 6 completely different things because I was trying to find what I was passionate about and what I was interested in. But as time went by, I was starting to, I didn't really have a clear narrative that pulled all those things together. And it was starting to become a bit of a problem until I joined an organization called Nesta, and I was responsible for building open innovation communities, very collaborative kind of spaces.
Okay.
And this very diverse network that I'd built up sort of slightly randomly and by accident went from being a problem to an opportunity. And that actually led to me founding my first business, and my co-founder of that business described me once as a compulsive connector, and that kind of label just stuck, and I've used it ever since, and I like it, and that's kind of how I got to doing what I do.
It's a great personal brand, yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
So how do you value connections? What's your approach to networking?
I don't value connections, certainly not upfront. I might do over time, retrospectively looking back, what are the valuable relationships and connections that have been formed. My approach is to give to get. Buy the coffee, if in doubt, buy the coffee. A little bit of investment in the relationship early can pay great dividends downstream. And I'm very kind of broad and exploratory in my kind of conversations that I have. But I try and sort of have conversations, build strong relationships, and then from some of those good kind of, some transactions, some kind of exchange may occur further downstream. But I try not to force it. I think these things have to go at their own pace. But the other thing I've sort of learned over the years is sometimes your most valuable connection can be your people you don't know that well, or people you maybe met once upon a time at a party or a gathering, and then 3 years later I meet you, Mike, and you say, I really need to talk to the head of marketing for Spotify or whatever it might be, which was a real kind of opportunity a few years ago, and I'm able to kind of facilitate that connection. So sometimes it's not just the strong relationships that you've nurtured and developed over time. Sometimes it's those random kind of weaker connections as well that can be super valuable.
And so what are the typical types of connections you make? Do you make connections every day, every week? Is it people who meet at networking events? What are those typical types of connections you work on?
Most of my work is working between kind of corporates and startups, so making lots of kind of connections there, sometimes with investors, startups and investors as well. But also increasingly as time goes by, just lots of people who are looking for a new job or a new opportunity or what it might be, and just trying to provide some help and facilitate some introductions around that.
And so obviously when you make introductions for other people, I imagine you want to help them, you want to create value, you want to create a better world for everyone and create a great personal brand for yourself as the compulsive connector. But then how do you monetize that? And how do you walk that fine line between building trust and relationships and monetizing?
So I've never monetized directly, or I've never overtly gone about trying to do that. The way I've kind of built my career and the businesses I've been involved with is sort of indirectly selling some kind of design, facilitation, consultancy, research services, but the kind of connecting comes for free. But I kind of realized that actually people didn't really want the research, or what they really wanted was the access to cool, interesting people and companies and opportunities. So in the last few years, I have increasingly been kind of commissioned to do to support some recruitment, which was really surprising. It was a space I've never really worked in directly. A lot of kind of company scouting, so finding interesting companies in certain areas. And the last few years have really been about sort of building communities and ecosystems in different geographies and in different sectors. So those are the ways I've kind of monetized it indirectly through having built this kind of very diverse network.
And do you have some kind of tracking mechanism for all the introductions you make and receive? Or how does tools like introstars, which help you track every introduction made and received and guarantee you get paid if a deal comes out of it, how does that change the game for you or for other people around you who are also networking?
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to trying introstars. This is, I'm open to kind of trying new tools. I've never been that systematic. I have over the years tried to do various analysis and mapping of my networking community. I've never really found kind of the method to do that really well. One thing that I've become really aware of is what I've referred to as the connector's dilemma. So I think people that are well connected are super valuable, but often maybe underappreciated or unrecognized. I realized this myself just a week ago. Someone who I hold in great regard was introduced to me by someone, and I'd forgotten who connected us in the first place. So I asked her last week, who was it who connected us? And she reminded me. And so sometimes you just don't remember who connected you, even though it was like a super valuable thing. So I think tracking and attribution, which as I understand it is what you're doing, is really, really valuable. But it's a tricky thing to kind of get right. So I'm looking forward to learning how you've done it and maybe trying it myself.
Perfect. Do you see any trends in networking, in business introductions, in connections, and how are you embracing those trends?
Well, as with everything, I think things are going a bit more global and a bit more local. So on the global side, we're kind of one conversation from pretty much everyone and anyone these days with the internet, which is amazing. But the challenge with that is knowing where to start, where to focus. And so there's almost too much choice with that. There are things like decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, and these kind of structures that bring kind of collectives together. I've run a few experiments in this space. I think that's super interesting. But I guess my number one kind of takeaway is in a world of increasing connectivity and automation, I think it forces us, and I think this is a good thing, to be more human. So don't try and do what the algorithms and the computers can do really, really well. Just be yourself. Just build kind of strong, trusted relationships, and kind of good stuff will come from that. And I see that. I've got 3 kids as well. I see that with my kids. They're kind of rejecting a lot of some of the amazing connectivity that's all around us, and just sort of getting into sort of deeply analog kind of human relations. So I think that's a really, really good thing, and that gives me hope.
Yeah, I think the more we're submerged with AI messages all around us, the more we want to go back to our human roots and being humans and focusing on that human relationship. So I think that's part of it.
It's absolutely part of it. I certainly hope so.
Amazing. So where can people follow you, and are you working on any interesting projects right now? And tell us more about it.
Sure. So I'm Roland Harwood on all social media, and I'm sort of doing 3 main things at the moment. One's called Net Zero Living. It's working with 57 towns and cities on their transition to net zero. So if that sounds interesting, you can Google that, check that out, or get in touch. Secondly, something called Climate Tech Supercluster. So this is the biggest concentration of climate tech talent, technology, money, and research globally. Exists within 4 hours train travel of London, but nobody knows about it. We're very fragmented, and so we're trying to raise awareness of that. So if that sounds interesting, get in touch. And then last but not least, I'm working on a top secret project which launches early next year. It's around sort of ethical AI and smart cities. I'll be able to say more very soon, but if that sounds interesting, then I'd love to talk to anybody in that space as well.
Cool. I'm excited to see your stealth project coming out in the big wide world. So thanks for that. Well, thank you so much for all your nuggets of knowledge today, Roland. Really appreciate our conversation, and hope to see you very soon on socials. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Cheers.